New projects to support the Egyptian inclusive and sustainable economic growth. The World Bank Board of Executive Directors approved $360 million of the Development Policy Financing (DPF) loan to support the Egyptian recovery and enhance the country's prospects for sustainable and inclusive growth. To further support the achievement of the operations development objectives, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is considering parallel financing for the operation of the same amount using the same package of policy reforms agreed with the World Bank. Egypt's first wave of macroeconomic reforms stabilized the economy and improved the fiscal and the external accounts. The newly approved Egypt Inclusive Growth for the Sustainable Recovery operation builds on this by supporting a second wave of structural reforms focused on creating jobs and providing an inclusive enabling environment for the private sector, laying the basis for the sustainable recovery. Egypt has remained one of the few countries that has maintained positive growth, approving the reform program implemented since 2015, as well as the quick action on the fiscal and the monetary measures to ease the effect of the global economic impact. The program strategically addresses some of the long-term structural issues impacting growth through the focus on three thematic pillars: enhancing macro-fiscal sustainability, enabling private sector development, and fostering the women's economic inclusion. The first pillar, on the enhancing of macro-fiscal sustainability, supports improving the management of the state-owned enterprises through enhanced transparency and reporting. It also enhances the debt transparency and debt management by introducing the regular publishing of a wider range of domestic and external debt data. This pillar also promotes and empowers a greener and more sustainable economic recovery through the issuance of the green bonds. The second pillar, on enabling private sector development, builds on the first wave of reforms and supports the digital and the financial inclusion, the streamlining and the automation of trade facilitation, and the modernization of the bankruptcy processes that aim to improve the Egyptian competitiveness and the private sector job creation. The pillar also strengthens the regulatory framework for the private sector participation in the waste management, which provides a basis for greener and more inclusive development in the sector. The third pillar, on fostering women economic inclusion, focuses on the legislative and the regulatory reforms that promote the female participation in the labor force and supports the government efforts to address the gender-based violence. It includes the steps to remove the restrictions on women participation in sectors and limitations on working hours, and supports the government adoption of a national code of conduct that promotes the safe and decent transportation for women in the railways. The program's design benefited from a collaborative process that had input from key stakeholders, including development partners, civil society, women, and the private sector.